Welcome to the Catholic Side. I'm your host, Stephen Leahy. Last week we talked about the proper posture during the Our Father, as outlined in the Catholic Catechism. Today we're going to go back to basics and ask, what are the requirements of being a practicing Catholic? The Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 2041 through 2043, lists the 5 precepts of the Church. These aren't rules meant to burden us. They're meant to anchor us. The Catechism of the Catholic Church calls the precepts the very necessary minimum in the spirit of prayer and moral effort. Think of them as guardrails that keep us on the road to heaven. Before we list them, it's important to understand why they exist. They're not man-made restrictions. They're pastoral laws given by the Church to help us live a moral and sacramental life. When we follow them faithfully, we stay connected to the grace of God through prayer, the sacraments, and charity. In short, these precepts help us love God and love our neighbor. What surprises me is how low the bar is to be deemed a practicing Catholic. The first precept is simple. You shall attend Mass on Sundays and on holy days of obligation, and rest from servile labor. This commandment calls us to keep the Lord's Day holy, to sanctify time. We're not just going to church to fulfill an obligation. We're going to encounter Christ Himself in the Eucharist. As paragraph 2042 says, we sanctify Sunday by participating in the Eucharist and resting from work that distracts us from worship. It's not about checking a box. It's about stepping into eternity every week. The second precept, you shall confess your sins at least once a year. This one often surprises people. It's a minimum. The Church doesn't say only once a year. It says at least once a year. Confession isn't about guilt. It's about mercy. Every time we confess, we let Christ wipe the slate clean. Paragraph 2042 reminds us that confession continues baptism's work of conversion and forgiveness. Grace is like oxygen. You need it regularly. The third precept, you shall receive the sacrament of the Eucharist at least during Easter season. This one is called the Easter duty. It ensures that at least once a year, every Catholic receives the body and blood of Christ, united with the mystery of His resurrection. The Church sets that as a minimum. But the saints remind us that frequent communion is the lifeblood of our spiritual life. If you truly believe it's the real presence of Jesus, why would you stay away? The fourth precept says, you shall observe the days of fasting and abstinence established by the Church. Now this one hits close to home for anyone who loves Italian beef on Friday. Some years ago, a priest friend of mine explained that abstinence from meat on Friday is still encouraged, though no longer necessary. You can elect penance instead, pray the rosary, or do something nice for someone. Fasting and abstinence aren't punishments, they're training. As paragraph 2043 explains, fasting prepares us for liturgical feasts and helps us acquire mastery over our instincts and freedom of the heart. When we fast, we reclaim control of ourselves. We say no to our appetites so we can say yes to God. It's spiritual muscle building. And finally, the fifth precept, you shall help provide the needs of the Church. This isn't about writing a check, though it may be part of it. It's about supporting the Church's mission with your time, your talents, and your treasure. As paragraph 2043 says, each of us is obligated to assist with the material needs of the Church, each according to his ability. If you've ever wondered how your parish keeps the lights on or your priest keeps food on the table, this is it. It's a call to stewardship, not an obligation. Now, these 5 precepts aren't the ceiling of Catholic life. They're the floor. They're where discipleship begins, not where it ends. When we live them faithfully, we give God permission to do more with us, to move from the minimum requirement to the maximum grace. Remember, as the Catechism says, they guarantee the necessary minimum in the spirit of prayer and moral effort. They're not about being perfect, they're about staying connected. So this week, maybe take a moment to look at your own faith life. Are you living the minimum, or are you ready to go deeper? Because holiness doesn't start with grand gestures. It starts with faithfulness to the basics. The 5 precepts are how we keep the heart of the Church beating within us. Thanks for watching The Catholic Side. I'm Stephen Leahy. Until next time, keep the faith, live the precepts, and stay close to the sacraments. That's how we grow in love of God and neighbor.